All right, well, they went and did it. A lot to process. Information still coming in. Tucker Carlson called this 6 months ago. And at the point I saw his podcast in which he said the word assassination, I had not considered it. And that caused me to back up and take a macro view of everything that the left has thrown at Donald Trump. I mean, it would have crushed most men. And I don't know if he's just that spiteful. He's just that tough. He's just that determined. I don't know what it is. But he made the point that there's nothing left. After all the lawsuits, there's nothing left if he's still standing and isn't completely broken, but to take him out. So there's two parts to this as I've been trying to follow it and research it. One, the bulk of the responsibility does now and will always lie with the shooter, right? 95 to 98%. However, there is a fraction of this, a piece of this, that is squarely on the fucking media and the politicians who have for 5 to 6 years called him Hitler, called him a fascist, called him a racist, called him a bigot. Now they've added on convicted felon. If you lob that shit out enough, frequently enough, to a country of 330 million people, you don't think one motherfucker's going to grab a hold of it and go, oh, okay, we probably should take this guy out. Really? So they're not free of this. And I will never let them free of this. So to the actual event. And I understand this is still ongoing. The investigation will probably go past the election. But we're to believe so far that a 20-year-old with no real training, no counterintelligence training, not ex-military, walked in with a ladder, a 10 to 12 foot ladder, a rifle slung over his fucking shoulder, and then proceeded to climb onto the only building with a deadline shot at where Trump was standing in Pennsylvania that day. Think about the number of events that have to go horrifically wrong just for that to happen. He hasn't fired a shot yet, just for him to get in place. Right? It's been reported by multiple news sources and podcasters that the Secret Service knew about this guy a full 20 minutes before he fired the first shot. 20. I've never done protection detail, but I've listened to enough people that have to grasp the concept that 20 minutes in that scenario is a fucking lifetime. So this guy gets into position. People are yelling, telling local authorities and Secret Service, hell, anybody that would listen, hey, there's a guy on the roof and he's got a gun. Hey, you might want to check out the dude on the roof. And nothing. Now, it's been reported that two, whatever county, maybe Bethel County, Pennsylvania, climbed up onto the roof, or he poked his head over the roof, and then Crooks trained his rifle on him. He ducked back down because he thought he was going to get his head blown off. Fair enough. At that point, I would think, you get on the radio, holy shit, there's a guy on the roof with a gun, with a rifle. And then the chips fall where they fall. Somehow, he still wasn't taken out. He got off what we think were 6 shots. You can hear 8 on the video. The last 2 will return fire. Right? Kim Cheadle, who is the director of the Secret Service, should not have a job today. Not that position, anyway. But she doesn't have the integrity and the dignity to step down, because this happened on her watch. And her excuse for not putting Secret Service on that building was that the roof had too great of a slope. What? What the fuck are you talking about? If you're in the Secret Service, and especially if you're on protection detail of the VP, the president, whomever it may be, forget the politics of it all. If you're in protection detail in the Secret Service, you understand that the time may come for you to take a bullet. That is your fucking job. If they can neutralize the person shooting prior to, great. But they fully understand, if push comes to shove, I become the human shield. I throw my body in front of that person. Politics be damned. But they can't get on a sloped roof? And just as a side note, 2 of the counter snipers for the Secret Service that were across the way, that were behind the stage where Trump was standing, were on a roof sloped greater than the one that the shooter was on. So there's another convenient bullshit lie that we've been told. So this will be a mystery, and there's 2 things at play here. If I'm Donald Trump, I have retired Navy SEALs, Rangers, MARSOC Marines protecting my ass. Private security. It makes no sense to me to have people employed by the administration that you're trying to unseat guarding you. That makes no fucking sense to me. Remove any doubt. I'm paying you, if I get a private detail, to take a bullet from me if it comes to that. And then there's the case, and I haven't been able to find, apparently there's a law that keeps the Secret Service from firing first. I have a really hard time believing that, because it defeats the purpose of the Secret Service. This isn't combat. That's a really shitty rule of engagement. And if in fact that is the case, they need to change that rule today. Like, if I see somebody on a roof and we all know that nobody is cleared to be on that roof, you fucking shoot him and you ask questions later. I'm sorry. Like, this is a zero-sum game. And I don't like those games, but this is one of them. Because we were, and hear me when I say this, I believe this to my core, we were an inch from all-out fucking civil war. If that guy had blown Donald Trump's head off on national television, ooh, son, it would have been a mess. And it would have been a mess quick. Like, people burning down shit would have been fucking least of your worries. Which, by the way, notice, nobody burned anything down. Nobody rioted. Nobody painted signs. Nobody put up murals. None of that bullshit. Keep that in mind. When you want to know who the really fucking crazy people are, the media that are telling you that Trump supporters are this and that and the other, no damage, no property damage, zero. So it's going to be interesting going forward to see where this lands. Kim Cheadle should absolutely resign. I don't think the president has the balls to relieve her of duty. But there's no way this wasn't an inside job. I just refuse to believe that, because I know a couple of Secret Service people personally. One of them has been on not a presidential, but a executive VIP type detail, right? And in the stories I was able to talk to him about, there's no way this would have happened. No fucking way. That dude should have been apprehended before he ever got on the building. So there's a leak somewhere. There was help somehow, some way. And I just don't know we're going to get the whole story, because they're still lying to us about Kennedy, both Kennedys, about Martin Luther King. They're still lying about that shit. That was, God, 60 fucking years ago. Right? They're still lying about that. So, it's really frustrating. Again, not a Trump supporter. I'm still not voting for him. But what they have done to this man is just flat wrong on every single level, when they are doing the exact same shit he's been accused of doing. That's my issue with it. So this is, again, partly on the media, right? He's an existential threat to democracy. That's the bullshit phrase they use over and over and over and over and over again. When in fact, I could make the case very easily that those people are the threat to democracy. I think the media, the corporate media, is the threat to democracy, because they never tell you the goddamn truth. And you have to dig for it. And you have to, like peeling an onion. So it's going to be interesting going forward. He will be the first president to ever win an election in July, because y'all just pushed him over the top. Congratulations.